Hi guys, Robert here. I'm trying to show y'all some tips today with Symbility mobile claims. I've been working with it a couple months now, so I've discovered a few things I want to point out to some folks. Let's get rid of this old one here. All right, first of all, we're going to start out with a little hip roof. Symbility likes roofs to be equal on all sides. Unless you change the pitch on them, they are going to be equal on all sides. Unless you do something to change that, which is add a shed roof or delete some area, which we're going to do. First of all, I want to show you how to tie a extension in. So I'm going to draw a front extension here, a little gable. What I'm going to do is get it to the right size first of all. I'm going to do all your sizing out here away from the roof. And I'm going to drop it up here on the roof. You want to put it right up on the slope. What we're looking for here is two numbers. This is a difference in eaves heights, and this is a difference in offset. These are the two numbers that you want to see to make this happen. First of all, you want to set the eave height difference to 0. You can see it tied it in there. Then you'll set the offset to 0. And when you do that, it'll tie in this slope. All right, that seems to be the number one problem is people trying to get slopes to tie in. This is not Exactimate, and it works a little bit differently. All right, it works the same thing with the hip roofs. I'll put a little hip roof out here to show you the same thing. Put it up on the slope so that we get our two numbers. Set the eave height to 0. Set the offset to 0. Whoops, wrong way. And then you can see it does tie it in. And once it's tied in, then you can adjust it if you need to. But I usually do all my roof adjustings out in the white area and then pull them over into the main roof. Now let's say that this slope over here on the right is 2 feet longer than the other 3 slopes. The way we're going to do that is we'll have to get our roof tied in first. Then I'm going to add this little shed roof button. Add that over to the side here. Make sure that our pitch is still the same. I'm going to put the shed roof up on the slope again so that we get our difference in that and eave height button. Set that down to 0, and when I do that, you'll see that it ties in. And then once we got it tied in, we can adjust it to whatever length we want. I'm just going to set it to 2 feet. And then if it runs the entire length of this, so be it. Or if it doesn't, if you got to put some little angles on it or something, you can use the the vortex mode tool and just change it that way and adjust that. Now let's see off the front here, and I realize I'm going through this pretty quick, so I don't want to take forever with this. Off the front here, we've got a dormer over the front door. I'm going to draw my dormer, set it to the right size, put it in the right location. Let's just say it's 4 feet up the slope. But let's also say that this front slope, this slope here is 2 feet shorter than the rear slope. So now what we're going to have to do is erase some of this slope here. So I'm going to get zoomed in on it. Click on the slope itself, and so we have this opening tool. Put the opening tool on there, just like you were going to do with a chimney or anything like that, and adjust it to 2 feet because that was our difference. I'm going to click on my vortex tool here so that I can align it over here into the valley like it's supposed to be. Get it lined up right. And now, while I've still got it selected, I'm going to hit the Combine with Roof button so that it takes it away. And you can see that it actually removed that section of roof. When it did that, it also took away this section of shingles right here. I'm going to use my Shift plus key to zoom in there, and you can see that these shingles are missing. And the way we're going to have to add those back is with this little triangle tool. So I'm going to draw my triangle tool. I'm going to manipulate it around until my arrow is pointing the correct direction. Now I got it the right direction. I kind of size this around a little bit. I'm going to put this bottom corner right here so that it matches up with the corner on that eave there. Now I want to set my elevations to the same. This elevation down here says it's 33 feet 5 inches. So I'm going to set this up to 33 feet 5 inches. And you can see that it combined in pretty good there. Zoom in a little bit tighter for you. And you're going to have to manipulate it around till it gets lined up. Sometimes a little zero will pop in here. There's the zero right there, indicating that you did a pretty good job of getting it lined up. One thing that happens whenever you're removing portions of a roof is now Symbility doesn't recognize this portion of the roof that we removed as an eave. And that comes into play when we're trying to drop some drip edge on here. I'm going to show you what I mean here. I'm going to grab some drip edge. The drip edge with rake and eave, which is a new item off the price list. So if you don't have that yet, you need to grab that drip edge for rake and eave. Now you can see where it's highlighting. It's highlighting my square that I added because it was tied in nicely. But it's not highlighting this area here. This one. Now I can select all of this and it'll drop drip edge in on all of that. And then I'm going to have to grab the drip edge again and drop it here separately so that it'll take care of all of that. Alright. Just little things to keep in mind. It doesn't automatically account for that. As reviewers are looking at your file, just want to let them know this quantity tab on the side over here that shows the gutter lengths and things like that. Usually the gutter length would be the eave length, right? Well, it says 155 linear feet there. And over here on my drip edge, I've got 282 linear feet. So obviously the gutter length doesn't account for the rake edge on these two guys here. And it wasn't accounting for this one here. So long story short, for reviewers, don't rely on these quantities in this quantity box for linear feet items. Total number of squares seems to be pretty accurate, but that's about it. The rest of it is not very accurate. And as adjusters, if we make some changes other than what's advertised there, we need to make some kind of note in our report. For instance, if there were cornice, say there's a cornice out the front, well, it wouldn't be one over there, it'd be over here. The cornice is out the front here. I haven't found a good way to draw them yet. So if you have to account for another square of shingles, you know, then just do that and then make a note in there that you added another extra square for cornices or overhangs. It's not accounted for. This, since we've deleted this portion of roof, it won't count this as overhang either. If we add an overhang onto this, I'm going to go ahead and just add it real quick. Just make that overhang 2 feet. See, it added the overhang here, but it didn't add it there. I mean, there's maybe an inch of overhang there, but that's it. So just to kind of keep that in mind, if you have to add some for overhang, then please make a note of it. Now we can add overhang to this dormer in the front here to account for the shingles underneath it. So go ahead and do that. Let's make it 2 feet. And then we can go into the freeform rotate tool and use it and see that it did account for that. I'm going to use my plus shift key, or my shift plus key, to show you that it did account for it. It's also accounting for this whole portion here that I deleted also. So I need to fix that. So I'm going to click on that thing. I'm going to zoom in tighter here. I'm going to drag it over to where the overhang is. There you go. Now it's gotten rid of that portion of overhang on that side. See? Working as advertised. Another thing I want to point out here is if you get a dormer that's up high here and this let's just say that this slope is still tied in to that dormer, you can actually slide this right up that hip. Now you got to stay on the hip to do this. Let me show you. Try to do this and show you. Okay, it's trying to stay on the hip. I just slid it up there and see it's still tied in. So I can scoot this all the way on up the hip and get it tied in. I always do this in baby steps, a little bit at a time, because if you slide off of it just for a moment, now it's not tied in anymore, and you can move it and manipulate it all you want. It's not going to tie back in unless you bring it down to this corner and tie it in like we originally did. I just hit Control Z a couple times there to get back to where I was. Just to show you that you can scoot it up the way there. You just got to keep it right on the hip the entire time, otherwise it won't work. All right, let's see. Let's go out. Well, I want to show you here that it did tie in. Here's our drip. All right, so our drip's all looking good. It tied in around over there, just like it's supposed to in here. Valley flashing. It's tying in nicely. It's also tying into this extra little portion of square. So that one you're probably going to have to drop it there individually, then here individually, then over here individually. The ridge shingles, yep, they're all lined up, counted for just like they're supposed to be. So it's all tied in nicely. All right. Now let's just say that you're out on a job, you drove 100 miles, you forgot to get a measurement somewhere, maybe you forgot to get this long measurement across here or something, or for whatever reason you just need to verify a measurement. Google Maps does have a measuring tool in it. You got to right click on the, go into the map, go in satellite view, right click on it, and then select measure distance. It'll give you a little measuring tool here, and then you can drag that out there on the roof. Now understand, I am not in any way, shape, or form saying that you can measure roofs this way. All right, but I'm saying if you need to verify something doesn't look right to you, this is a good tool you can check. It says that that's 43.53 feet. So it goes down to inches. It seems to be pretty accurate. I've checked it. The error in accuracy is how close you can get to the actual edge, you know, not trying to identify the edge. But again, just a backup tool. It may save you from having to drive a long way, or, you know, none of us have dyslexia, right, and write down a number wrong. But it's just something that I just wanted to point out. I didn't realize it till the other day that existed. I'm going to show you real quick here about some interior stuff, and then we'll be done with this. Every time I do my interior, I just draw my room out as a box and then work it from there. And I do a box inside of a box. Doesn't matter what I'm going to name that room, because I'm just going to hit delete, and it gives me an offset. And then I can drag this offset to whatever side I want, inside, outside, whatever. If you try to draw an offset to the outside and you hit delete, you know, it just goes away. If you try to draw it out this way, then you can use the missing wall tool. You know, now it makes it 2 rooms that you've got to combine it and make it a sub room and all that. I don't do all that. I just do a box inside of a box. Let's try that one more time. Box inside of a box. Then I hit delete, and then I drag it out that way. Okay. And once you get them set up, you know, rough drawing, then you can manipulate it however you need to. You can use the vortex tool. Just highlight the thing. Use the vortex tool and, you know, draw these things and make circles, and, you know, do whatever you need to do to make this a funny looking room. All right. So just wanted to point out these little tricks to you that I've learned along the way, and hope those help you with your adjusting.